All right, so can you tell me a little bit about Kenneth?
Kenneth was a loving, kind, caring person. He was a kid himself. He loved being around all the little kids. He loved spending time with his family, his daughter. It was like daily, always with us. Kenneth was 26 years old, but mentally he was about 15. He always cared for other people. He didn't like to see other people hurt or worried. He'd always tell them everything was going to be okay. He just loved his family, and he cared for other people a lot.
And was he born and raised here in Belen?
Yes, he was born in Albuquerque in 1995, May 18th, and he was raised in Belen his whole life.
And you said that he had a disability.
Yes. Yes, he had a mental disability. It was Dr. Sandra Montoya that actually diagnosed him with mental disability. So he was in his age mentally. Appearance, yes. Mental, no.
And the morning he went missing, that was July 28th, right?
Yes.
And what happened? What first made you realize that something was wrong?
Well, I had went to sleep and I heard his car start, and I'm not sure if it had to have been between 4:30, 5:30, somewhere around there. But I thought he was just going like to go pick up a girl, go see a girl, because he would do that sometimes. And so I went back to sleep, and when I woke up about 8:40, and I noticed his car wasn't here yet. So that's when I started to call him. So I called him the first time, and he didn't answer. Second time, didn't answer. Finally, at 9:04 was the third time that I had called, and he answered. And I told him, "Son, where are you?" And he said, "I don't know, Mom." And I said, "What do you mean you don't know?" And he said, "I'm in the mountains somewhere." And I said, "Get in your car and find a way out, son." And he said, "My car's not here." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "They took it." And he said the back of his head was hurting him. And I asked him who took his car and who hit him. And he said it was Corey and Toby. And at that point, I was like, "What do you see? Like, what do you see, son? Do you see towers? Do you see anything so I could know?" He said, "No, Mom, all I see is mountains and desert." He said, "I think that's the Las Hill, but I'm way, 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 way in back." So I right away thought it was Las in back of the Las Hill. And I told him that I was going to go looking for him. And he said, "Mom, I don't think you're going to find me." He goes, "I really don't even know where I'm at." And I said, "I'm going to find you, son. I'm going to leave right now and I'm going to go looking for you. And I'm going to find you." And he said, "Mom, I'm really thirsty. Can you bring me something to drink?" And I said, "Yes." So I right away got some water bottles and some Gatorade from the fridge, and I went looking for him in Las Tunas through Highway 6 and all back there. And I didn't see nothing. And I said, well, maybe I went through Highway 60 towards Mountain Air, maybe that way, maybe I'll see something, and I didn't see anything. I came for my granddaughter, and we went back to Las Tunas, Highway 6, and back of the hill. And I couldn't find him, and I was calling him on Messenger, because he couldn't remember the password of his phone. That way he could show me on video what it looked like. But he never answered me after that last call. And I just started freaking out. I couldn't find him. He wasn't answering me. And I started to get really sick. And I was driving on Highway 47. And I called my mom and I said, Mom, I'm going to your house. I have to call the cops. And she asked me what was going on, and I told her. And I stopped there. I called the cops, and they told me that I had to come to Belen, where it happened or whatever. So my mom brought me. We called them to let them know we were here. Belen Police Department came. And I told him what had happened, what my son told me, everything my son told me. And Belen Police Department said, well, there's nothing we're going to be able to do for you. You're going to have to wait 24 hours to file a missing persons report. And even after that, all that's going to happen is he's going into the missing persons system. That's it. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, he's not a missing person. I spoke to my son. My son told me what had happened. He's in the mountains somewhere. He doesn't know where he's at. And he said there was nothing that they could do for us because my mom was also out there with me. And they they left. And
at that time, were they aware that he had a disability?
Yes. Yes, I did tell them. And they were asking me for all the paperwork and blah, blah, blah. At that moment, I wasn't in the state of mind to start looking through all my paperwork. What I wanted to do was find my son. I mean, it's in records. They know. I mean, it's been used in court, you know. So they left, and we had called state police, sister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they said Belen was in charge of the case, correct?
Yes.
And then finally they let us do a missing persons report that evening. So we called and made a report. A state police officer came over here and gave us coordinates of a ping of a phone. So we began searching.
At that time, did they offer any help for
No.
search and rescue?
No, they never offered us help. And so we started searching west of Double Eagle Airport in Rio Rancho. At 2 o'clock in the morning, Thursday morning, that's when we left. And we searched and searched and searched. And then they said that I had to come over here and state police. That's when they bring me the coordinates was on Thursday afternoon. That's why I had to come back. After that, we went back and we were kept on searching. Then on Friday, Jacqueline got a hold of search and rescue team, correct? And They met us out there on 59 and Southern.
And they weren't related to the police. They were like an independent.
They were independent, yes. And they were showing us where the ping was and stuff like that. They were telling us to search. They were telling us like which way to go to search. They were out there for a good 2 hours. Then they said they would be back in the morning.
That was the actually National Guard.
National Guard. They said they'd be back in the morning, but they canceled the search. My sisters tried to get in contact with them because we wanted to know why they canceled the search if we needed help. And they didn't want to talk to you guys, huh? Anymore.
No, they didn't. They just said that the guy wasn't there. No, he was just a volunteer, and there wasn't anything else that they could do.
So, state police went out. Saturday? Was it Saturday? That's right. They went out Saturday evening.
And how many days had it been at this point?
3. It had been 3 days. And we were searching, and they kept on calling on my phone that I had to go back to meet them at the end of 59 and Southern. And I told them we're way out here searching for my son. And they said we need all the ones that are volunteering to come back so we could do our investigation. I went back, but the other volunteers didn't. They said, we're not stopping. They're not going to come way out here anyway. And thank God they didn't, because when I went back and they questioned me to get my side of the story, they were there maybe for about an hour and a half, if that, and they left. They went up the hills just to see. And that was it. That was it. We called multiple times to Bernalillo to see if they could get on the helicopter and check. They never did. State police, Sean Larson said they did get on the helicopter. I don't know when that was. We were out there day and night, never saw a helicopter. There should have been more help.
If I may add, we had contacted Sandoval County on Thursday night. We had met up with some officers there, and they had said that they didn't even know anything about it. It wasn't in the database. We had told them the situation, but they had said because of the ping that they weren't able to help us because it wasn't in their district. And even they had said that, they should have put a Brittany alert since he had a mental disability. They had told us that state police should have put it into the NCIS or NCIC because even on Thursday night, they knew nothing about it. It was not in the system. We called Bernalillo County. They knew nothing about it. From my understanding, it was already a week into, and finally they put it into the NCIC or NCIS, notifying surrounding police authority, Bernalillo County, and districts, when they should have did that since the very beginning. Sandoval County was very helpful in giving us information and giving us phone numbers. They were the most helpful out of anybody, but since it wasn't in their district, they couldn't help us. they were the ones on Saturday that actually got state police out there. We had been contacting state police, and it wasn't until Saturday that finally Sandoval County is the one that got them out there. And like my sister had mentioned, they were out there maybe an hour, maybe two. And they made us leave at that point. They said that we couldn't be there because they were conducting their search. But when we had went back an hour and a half later, they were gone. What can you search in an hour and a half? And it's just really heartbreaking because state police, and everybody knows it, has all the helicopters, drones, they have dogs, all the resources to be able to find a missing person, and they did not use those resources. I know the detective had told my sister that they got a helicopter out there, but we never seen it. One time we contacted the news. They said that they couldn't help us, that police had to be invited in, and that had to invite them in. And when I talked to Sean Larson, he said that he did send it to the news, but it's up to them whether they wanted to post our story or not. If we would have had the news and even just put it out for a day, we would have had more people knowing about it, more people looking out for his car, even more volunteers, because it was crucial. The first day, as they say, the first 48 hours are the most crucial, but we didn't have that. And we were so grateful that finally Amanda and Kim and their search and rescue, their private search and rescue team, they contacted us and they wanted to set up a search and rescue, and we did that on Sunday. We did have a good outcome of people come on horses, and we had people on side-by-sides and four-wheelers, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even have had that. We wouldn't have had, because we didn't know what we were doing. We needed help, guidance. And we are just so grateful for them. They were out there every day searching. They had jobs, they had families, they'd get out of work and they'd go help us search until it got dark. And we searched day and night for 3 weeks, and we slept out there. It was just such a difficult time. As my sister Lupe had said, we wanted to bring him home alive. That was our hopes, but as time went on, we knew that wasn't going to be possible, but we just wanted to bring him home to his mom and his daughter and his family. And we're still fighting, and we're not going to stop. We didn't stop searching, and we're not going to stop fighting for justice for him and for others that this has been done to, and pray that this doesn't happen to others. Regardless if you have a past, we all have something in our past that we regret or we've done, but that doesn't mean that you're not important. That doesn't mean that you're not loved. You're still somebody's son. You're still somebody's family member, a dad, a nephew. And regardless, like me, if I see the heartache that we suffered, and somebody goes missing, I don't care if you have a record. I'm going to help because you're a human being, just like my nephew's a human being and he was loved. And everybody deserves the same. It doesn't matter if you have a record. It doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, you have a disability. It doesn't matter. Everybody deserves to be found and to have the same effort put into every person. It shouldn't be biased and they get to pick and choose who they want to search for. That's not right. And now we suffer the heartbreak of what has been done and the help that we did not get. And this is something that's going to be with us for the rest of our lives, and nobody should ever have to go through this. Nobody. I wouldn't wish this upon anybody.
When Kenneth was found, Maria, can you tell me about what the police told you when he was found?
So we were searching on 59 and Southern. I got a call from Sean Larson. He told me that they had found, this was on Monday, correct? On a Monday. They had found my son's vehicle. I asked him what condition the vehicle was in because I had heard that they had burned it. He said it was intact. And I said, have you found my son? And he said, we found human remains of a male. And I lost it. I just lost my mind then. Well, we started calling. My sister-in-law came Wednesday morning, and she started calling OMI to see if they had my son there. And they spoke with me and got all the information. And they said, yes, he's here. That he had been there since Friday. The Friday before. We just said, why haven't we been contacted? They said they had no contact information. And my sister called Sean Larson. Then they met us that afternoon at State Police in Isleta to tell us what we already knew. That they had my son. I know Isleta Ranger is the one that located my son.
On the Isleta Reservation.
Yeah. My son's vehicle was on this Isleta Reservation. There's a barbed wire fence that separates it. 10 feet away from that barbed wire fence was my son's body. And I do want to tell the ranger, I don't know who he is, but I want to thank him for finding my son, even though it's not the way that I wanted him to be found. But if it wasn't for him, we would still be searching.
And at this point, to your knowledge, you were told that his death is not being investigated as a homicide.
Yes. Sean Larson said it wasn't being investigated as a homicide. They have no, as of now, they have nothing that, no evidence pointing that it was a homicide. Sean Larson said that there was no signs of bruising. He said he was present at the autopsy. There was no sign of bruising or broken bones. So my sister called OMI investigator. He returned our call. And my sister asked him if there was any way, being that his body was so decomposed, because OMI had told us, it said, is there any way we can have an open casket so I can see my son when that's time? And they said no. They said that his body was unrecognizable. So she asked OMI if there was any way, his body being so decomposed, if they could tell if there was bruising. And he said no. He said there's no way that we could tell if there was bruising. He was down for quite some time, is what he said, correct?
Mm-hmm. I just wonder how they could tell if his body was bruised or hurt if he was so decomposed. And we just want everybody to know that Kenneth was not a missing person. He answered his mom the phone and he needed help, and we didn't get that help. And we suffer a bad pain every day, and we just feel guilty we weren't able to find Kenneth, even though we know we did everything we could. And we're just thankful for all the people that did help us. And thank you to our community and Albuquerque community, even though they are not our hometown, they came out and helped us, and we're just forever grateful to every single one of you guys helping Kenneth Bolagh's search.
Is there anything else that you guys would like the public to know about?
I would like them to know that Kenneth's door was broken and the gate was broken, so they possibly took him here from my sister's house. And nobody deserves to be taken out of their house and left in the llano, and we're just praying for justice, and we're praying for anybody that knows anything about what happened to Kenneth. There's a $10,000 reward for any solid information to the rest of the people involved in disappearing Kenneth and his murder. And that's it. Thank you, guys.
You know, even though the police say that, you know, it's not being considered as a homicide, and they're basically saying that he did this to himself. We, his family, and the people that know him, know he did not do this to himself. Kenneth was living his best life. Kenneth loved life. He was not depressed. There was no reason for him to do this to himself. He spoke to his mother that morning when she called him. He told her what had been done, and he told her who had done that to him. He was crying for help. He wanted to be found. Somebody that wanted to kill themselves wouldn't ask for help, wouldn't want to be found. He wouldn't even answer his phone. We know he did not do this to himself. And we want people to know that he did not do this to himself. And like I said earlier, nobody deserves this. Nobody, I don't care what you have in your past. No family deserves the heartache. I wouldn't even wish this on the people's family that did this to him. Because you know what? The heartache of losing a family member the way we lost him is just horrible. We see my sister and his dad and his daughter suffer and his brother.
of not having him here. He never left my sister's side. He was always with her. He was always home at 26 years old. He still lived at home with his daughter and his dad. He was like a little kid. Everybody that knew him knew how he was. He would rather be with the kids than the adults. And he is so greatly loved, even though he is no longer here with us. He is so greatly loved. And we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. We didn't stop searching, and we're not going to stop fighting for him.
I love you, son. I just want you to know. We love you so much. And you know your mom's a fighter, and mom's going to keep fighting.